Update. My wife and I have had a fantastic relationship since we were in our early 20s. We've opened a few businesses together and have a few restaurants in our community. Obviously, this is a throwaway post. I'm not too thrilled about posting this, and I never thought I'd be the one reaching out to random people on Reddit. I've read a lot of these, but never thought I would be the story. The year started off better than normal. We both had a great mindset going into it, and she was all about the new year, new me mentality. She bought a new wardrobe and started buying and wearing lingerie. This was new for us. New jewelry, the works. We work in front of a lot of people, and she wanted to make sure she was confident. I was all for it. I have a beautiful wife, and I could not have cared less that she wanted to look her best. Zero jealousy on that front at all. She has a very flirty personality to begin with, and the ability to have fun and talk to anyone is why we are together. I'm the same way, except more reserved with female relationships. I am always polite and nice. I do not seek attention from women to feel confident or comfortable in my own skin. She does, which I believe is why we are in this situation. A few weeks after probably the best 2 months of our relationship, we had an issue with our marriage that just messed everything up. One morning, she told me she was going to get a drink with a friend randomly as we were walking out the door. This caught me a little off guard because we always give a few days' notice if we have dates with friends or anything important in our lives. We are both extremely busy, and it's just a courtesy we've done for years. I shrugged it off and didn't think anything about it. Later that day, I wanted to surprise her for lunch. She had a meeting at one of our restaurants, and I was going to head that way. I asked what she was up to, and she said she is going to have her meeting at a different restaurant, still ours, and it was now virtual. Okay, cool. That one is closer anyway. I head that way, and she's not there. I asked the staff if she's been here yet, and they said no. Okay, that's weird, so I call her. She gets a little defensive on the phone, like she was annoyed that I was trying to see where she was. I was very confused and told her, "Hey, I just wanted to surprise you for lunch." She said she ended up going back to the original place and was going to do the meeting there. It was too late to meet for lunch at this point. She had the meeting, and I had stuff to do. I let an hour or so go by, and as confused as I was, I hopped on cameras to see if she was there, because my radar is going off big time. Surprised she wasn't. I called the manager and asked if she was there, and if she was there at all today, and he said no. Okay, now I am pissed. I didn't say anything to her, but now I'm curious about this drink date with her friend. About 5:30, I show up to the restaurant, not ours, that they were supposed to meet at. Neither of their vehicles was there. So I then go to the other locations that are ours, and nothing. Stop by the office and then the house. Again, nothing. Now what? I wait until about 7:30 and text, "Are you guys having dinner too? Or are we having dinner before I make something for just myself?" She responded with a very confusing text as if she had no idea what I was talking about. She said she's having dinner with her friend and that she's waiting for her to get done with her work, and they were going to meet at 9. I instantly call her and berate her with questions. Where were you all day? What happened with drinks? Why are you lying to me? My mind is racing. She pauses and doesn't tell me, and I can tell she's drunk as hell. I didn't know what was going on, but I know that I was thinking the worst. She said she went shopping in the afternoon and had her virtual meeting in the car in the parking lot. I'm not buying it because I could not care less if she went shopping. No need to lie about it. After a couple of hours, she finally gets home after multiple phone calls and begging her to tell me the truth. After she gets home, I don't let up. I know when she lies, when she has to pause to tell me the story, like she is plotting the best possible excuse that I will believe. She tells me she never went shopping, but instead, she went to the bars, supposedly by herself. Again, I don't buy it. I don't understand, and I'm shaking knowing that this is not normal behavior. Look, last year we went through 2 miscarriages, and it was tough. But I didn't expect my wife to go to the bars, get drunk, and lie to me about where she was going to be in my future. She lied about even meeting with her friend. It was a ploy to free up her whole afternoon so she could bar hop and do whatever she wanted. We are almost 40. We don't bar hop in the afternoon on a weekday. Again, I normally wouldn't care if she was with a friend and they wanted to check out for the afternoon. Totally cool with that. Go have fun and unwind. Lie to me and go by yourself? Not cool. The next few weeks were rough. I had lost a lot of respect, and during those first few months of the new year, we had met a friend who was also in the business. Single guy, my wife and I don't have kids. So we always would have drinks after work, hang out at the house, etc. He was around quite a bit, and I noticed him and my wife had a connection that seemed to be business-oriented. After this bar hopping, I couldn't help but think that my wife may be cheating on me with this guy. So I asked her, and she clearly denied it and kind of laughed at it. Okay, stupid me. Your insecurities are showing up, get it together, and I pushed it under the rug. Weeks go by, and our relationship is tense and cold, but we are still intimate. Intimacy didn't dry up. Neither did their relationship. She works at one location, and I typically work at another. When we are done, it's usually 9:30 or so. She would grab a drink with our friend typically at her spot, and then they would get one at the next bar down the street. I was invited but said no most times because, frick, I just want to go home and hang out with my wife. She constantly wants to hang out with this guy, and it's very clear they have more of a connection than I first thought. I finally work up the courage and confront her and him both about it on the same night. Seemed like we squashed it and we all tried to move on. After the incident with the bar, I told my wife she needed to see a therapist. It's been a long time coming as she's had the trauma from our miscarriages, she doesn't have a father, and her mom passed at a young age. She's had her fair share of trauma. I'm the rock she's always needed. But she clearly needed help that I couldn't give her. After I confronted my wife about her relationship with our friend, I told her that emotional cheating is a thing and it's not good. You going to him is a problem. I'm uncomfortable and I'm not thrilled about this relationship you've built with him. She agrees and we decide to take a vacation to clear our mind and reconnect. She had a therapy session, virtual, while on vacation. I found out later that she told her therapist about our friend and that I had told her that her relationship with him had to stop. Her therapist told her about emotional cheating and recommended that we see a couples therapist. The funny part is, my wife didn't tell me that. She just said that we should see a couples therapist to help our relationship. I told her no, since I believed I haven't done anything wrong. I explained that it's important for her to get the help she needs first. A couple of weeks later, I think things are going great, and I apologized to her for even thinking that she would cheat on me. I told her that I would work on my insecurities. Her and I both were drinking and she got drunk and went to bed. She left her phone on the table, and I was finishing my drink. 10 minutes later, she's passed out. I couldn't help myself. I needed closure so I can move on from this. I wanted to know that they were done with their nonsense relationship. I've only gone through her phone once in our 15-year relationship. This was the second time. What I found broke me. I went through her messages and found a conversation with said friend with 35 deleted texts, and the conversation was completely wiped after our conversation I had with her and him that night weeks prior. There were only about a month's worth of messages, and a bunch were deleted. It was clear there were things in that chat that she didn't want me to see. This doesn't include the months of snaps back and forth that I will never see. The conversation was a lot of, I'm bored from my wife, come grab dinner, come get a drink, etc. All while I'm asking her to come home early to hang with me. Now I see why she didn't. I also found a hidden picture folder with lingerie selfies, some topless, and some with Snapchat filters. My heart sank because I've never seen these photos in my life. Next to the dozen or so photos were pictures of our friend. Selfies of him with one saying, if only I wasn't in traffic, and another of him in the sauna. This was at 3 a.m. when I found these photos, and I just completely lost it. I went to my friend's place for a few hours, didn't sleep, came back and she woke up and came down to have coffee. She was clearly hungover, and I laid into her. She got quiet and didn't say anything. I told her how dumb I was for believing her and that I needed to hear the truth. I left and got breakfast at my friend's, told him everything, and I didn't know what to do. Get a lawyer? Leave? I just wanted to crawl into a hole. After I was done, I went back home to pack a bag. She was there. No remorse, no crying, nothing. I'm a mess, but I keep it together. She assures me that the selfies were not sent to our mutual friend and that she doesn't see him in that capacity at all. As in 0%. I want to believe her. She then proceeded to tell me that all of those photos were meant for me. But I never received any of them, and that she was self-conscious to send them and afraid of where they would end up. We never send unclothed photos to each other, especially with our businesses, and the thought of that getting out scares the shoot out of both of us. She said that only the one picture, that was a see-through mesh bra with her whole body, but no face, was sent to a random guy on Reddit. It was a subreddit that's basically guys asking women to take a picture of themselves doing something, like bend over the counter and show your butt, or send me a good morning selfie, etc. If anyone knows if this subreddit exists, please put it in the comments. I can't find it, and she doesn't remember which one. I'm trying to believe her, but I need proof. The guy asked her to do something, and she did, and sent it to him via Snapchat. She said it was a hi, and the moment she did it, she freaked out and deleted everything because the guy asked for her Venmo and wanted to pay for more pictures. She swears that it was one photo. She swears that nothing has happened with our friend. She said the only reason why the two selfies were in her phone and hidden was that she wanted to show her friend who he was and that she has some form of emotional connection that needs to stop. But here I am looking for advice. I can't stand to look at her. I have to work with her. I have to try to make this work. Or do I? Has anyone gone through this before? And how did you get through it? I adore and love my wife, but I don't know how to get past this. I still believe the snaps and the selfies were sent to our friend. I don't buy the Reddit nonsense, but who knows? I was always a firm believer that cheating is cheating, and I'm out if it happens. But here I am trying to leave but can't, because as much as I hate her, I can't leave her. Help. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. She is totally manipulating you. She was absolutely involved with that guy. Get a lawyer immediately. You have no children, so it's not worth staying with her. Even if she takes half of everything, you will still be financially stable and able to move on. And although you may not be 20 years old anymore, perhaps you are still young enough to find someone and start a family if that is what you desire. Clearly, she is only interested in random intimacy encounters. Comment 2. You are an intelligent individual who doesn't need the advice of strangers. You have all the necessary information to come to a conclusion. Now, you need to take action, and that means speaking to a lawyer to protect both your business and personal assets. Your wife is also intelligent. I suspect she is doing the same. Good luck. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around after my last post. So, things took a turn for the worse. I thought I had seen it all, but I was wrong. My wife, she did something I never thought she was capable of. She left, and just packed her bags and left without a word. I came home to an empty closet and a note that said she needed time to think. That's it, no explanation, no apology, nothing. I was left questioning everything about our future. I was a wreck, but I had to keep the businesses running. I threw myself into work, trying to ignore the gaping hole in my life. But then, the news dropped. I found out through a mutual friend that my wife wasn't just taking time to think. She was with him, our mutual friend. They were seen cozying up in a bar 2 towns over, the same guy I had confronted her about, the same guy I had trusted as a friend. I felt like a fool. All the lies, the deceit, it was too much. I was angry, hurt, and I wanted to confront them, to make them feel a fraction of the pain I was feeling. But I didn't. Instead, I did something that made me look weak and desperate. I forgave her. I forgave her even though everyone said it was unforgivable. I told her we could work through it, that we could go to couples therapy, anything. I was willing to do whatever it took to save our marriage. But the aftermath was brutal. The staff at our restaurants were whispering, our friends were taking sides, and I was the talk of the town. It was humiliating. I had to face our employees every day, knowing they knew what was happening in my personal life. It was a struggle to keep a brave face. Then, as if things couldn't get any worse, I discovered the extent of the betrayal. I found out that my wife had taken a significant amount of money from our joint account, money that was supposed to be for the business. She had been planning this for a while. It was a calculated move that left me not only emotionally but financially vulnerable. I was at a loss. I didn't know how to handle it. I had always been the one in control, the one who fixed things. But this was beyond repair. I had to make some tough decisions. I had to protect our businesses, our employees, and myself. I sought legal advice, and it was clear that I needed to separate our finances and protect what was left of our assets. The next few days were a blur of meetings with lawyers and accountants, trying to untangle the mess she had left behind. I was running on autopilot, doing what needed to be done. But inside, I was broken. And then, another blow. I found out she was pregnant. It was like a punch to the gut. The timing, the betrayal, it was all too much. I didn't know if the child was mine, and I wasn't sure I wanted to know. It was a harsh reminder of the miscarriages we had suffered together, of the future we had dreamed of. I was lost in a sea of emotions. I wanted to hate her, to cut her out of my life completely. But I couldn't. Despite everything, I still loved her. I was torn between my pride and my heart. Now, I'm just trying to take it one day at a time. I'm focusing on the restaurants, on keeping things afloat. I'm trying to rebuild my life without her, but it's hard. I'm not sure where to go from here. I'm just trying to find some semblance of normalcy in the chaos she left behind. Thanks for reading. My girlfriend cheats with my best friend and Rex. My car after I work overtime. To pay our bills. So I kick them both out and change the locks. Update. I was trying to compromise, and she said I was a disappointment, and I should get on my knees and beg her to stay with me. I broke up with her, and now she's screaming at the top of her lungs and crying downstairs. I'm distraught. I, 27-year-old male, have been dating my girlfriend, 28-year-old female, for 2 years now. Our fights have been over her feeling neglected in the relationship. For context, I'm blue-collar and work a lot to provide for us. She's responsible for half the rent and her car insurance. I pay for everything else and still help her with her bills when she has needed it, which over the last year has been 6 out of 10 months. I pay for all the other bills and utilities, household items, clothes, and makeup for her, getting her nails done at least once or twice a month, etc. I worked 65 hours last week, Saturday and Sunday. I came home on Sunday and cleaned the house and did the chores that were backlogged. I grabbed dinner for us, and we sat down to watch my girlfriend's anime. We watched it for an hour, and then I had 30 minutes before I had to go to sleep to get 8 hours of rest before waking up in the morning. I read before bed to ease my mind and help decompress. I told my girlfriend I wanted to read while we watched the next episode because I only had 30 minutes left. She lost it when I didn't back down from needing some time to decompress. And she said I was neglecting her in the relationship, and she's going to find someone else. Opened up Tinder and downloaded it next to me, and started going off on me about how I don't meet her needs. I don't understand why I don't deserve 30 minutes to myself. I'm not interrupting her watching the show, and I give 90% of my free time to her, us. I don't ever ask her for anything besides 2 things: going to sleep on time, because if I'm tired, I can get grievously hurt in my line of work. I fell on a roof and had to go to the hospital in January because I was so tired after one of our fights, and some time before bed to read and decompress my brain. We're supposed to be splitting the chores based on who works more throughout the week, but I've asked for help several times, and she's always going through something, whether she's tired, depressed, sad, emotional from hormonal changes, on her period, etc. Something snapped in me last night. I think I'm really starting to fall out of love with her, and I don't know what to do. She says I've been neglecting her, but I literally give her all of my free time and make sure to do date activities whenever possible. I really love her and want to make it work, but it's really starting to affect me. We've gone through so much together. I've been with her through her kicking alcoholism, and she's been with me through leaving hurtful friendships where I was being taken advantage of. I don't know how to satisfy both of our needs. I feel that my needs are very simple and easy to accomplish, and I'm always meeting 90% of her expectations, but I'm never good enough. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Want to make it work? The only thing you should be working on is to move on from her. Download Tinder. In front of you, it is outright disrespectful, and she is showing you that she has the ability to go to any extent to hurt you. This is just the beginning, and from here her behavior will get worse with each fight. Comment 2. Something snapped in me last night. I think I'm really starting to fall out of love with her, and I don't know what to do. Tell her, listen, this relationship is not going to work. It is time to go our separate ways. Now for the update. Thanks for all the comments last time. Things have only gotten crazier since then. After that blow-up, I thought we'd hit rock bottom, but my girlfriend, let's call her Jane, had other plans. She went silent for a few days, which was a relief at first. But then, I came home to find my buddy, who's been crashing on our couch for a while, looking guilty as sin. Turns out, Jane had been whispering poison in his ear, telling him I was bad-mouthing him behind his back, which was a complete lie. She was trying to turn my friends against me. I confronted her about it, and she just shrugged, saying she felt alone and needed someone on her side. It was like she didn't even care about the truth anymore. She just wanted to win, no matter what it cost. But that wasn't the end of it. Jane started spending money like it was going out of style. She maxed out the credit card I'd given her for emergencies on a shopping spree. When I saw the bill, I couldn't believe it. Clothes, shoes, stuff we didn't need and couldn't afford. When I asked her why, she said she was filling the void I'd left by not giving her enough attention. I was working double shifts just to keep us afloat, and she was sinking us faster than I could bail. It was like she was punishing me, but I couldn't understand why. I'd done everything for her, and it still wasn't enough. Then, one night, I got a call from the hospital. Jane had been in an accident. She'd taken my car without asking and wrapped it around a pole. She was okay, thank God, but the car was totaled, and guess what? She'd let the insurance lapse because she said the money should be spent on more important things. I was furious. I felt betrayed. I'd been bending over backward for her, and she'd just thrown it all back in my face. I didn't even recognize her anymore. She was like a stranger, one who was hell-bent on destroying everything I worked for. But I had to keep it together. I couldn't let her drag me down with her. I started to document everything, the lies, the spending, the manipulation. I needed to protect myself because it was clear she wasn't going to. The final straw came when I found out she'd been cheating on me, with my so-called friend no less, the one she'd tried to turn against me. I guess they'd been getting cozy while I was out working. It was a slap in the face, a betrayal of everything we'd been through together. I kicked them both out that night. I didn't want to see her face again. I didn't want to hear her excuses or her apologies. It was over, and I was done being the fool. It's been a month now. I'm still picking up the pieces, but I'm getting there. I've got a new place, a smaller one I can afford on my own. I'm working less, taking care of myself for a change. It's not easy, but I'm doing it. I learned the hard way that no matter how much you give, some people will always want more. And sometimes the only way to win is to walk away. Thanks for reading. My fiancé's sister and brother-in-law spread lies about me to the entire family. So I recorded them admitting the truth and played it at their next family gathering. For everyone to hear, sorry for the long post. My fiancé's 33, brother-in-law, 40-year-old male, flew in from Hawaii this past weekend to go to a golf tournament. I do not get along with my fiancé's sister and haven't seen or talked to his brother-in-law for about 2 years. My relationship with my future in-laws has been very toxic. His parents always tried to break us up as he comes from an enmeshed family, where his sister, the oldest sibling, always called the shots and was in his mom's ear. The past few months, I've been trying to put in the effort to have dinner with them and be cordial. When his brother-in-law came into town, I offered to go play some golf with them for half the day, so that I could meet him. Things were great. We all went to dinner with his family that night, although things were a bit awkward because they were asking him about his family, his new daughter, etc. I just sat there and nobody asked me about my family, even though they haven't spoken in a few years. Yet my dad always reaches out to my future father-in-law to wish him on occasions. So Saturday evening comes along. We leave to go to the Masters. It's about a 2.5-hour drive, and I offered to drive them and took my car. Once we reached the hotel, his brother-in-law was FaceTiming his mom because she's in Hawaii with my fiancé's sister and the baby. She asked him who all was there, and he said it's only him and my husband. That honestly pissed me off. His mom doesn't know much about me, but what I cared for the most was not being able to see my 6-month-old niece. Nobody in my future husband's family has ever cared to show me pictures of her or let me see her on a video call. My future husband doesn't talk much with his older sister because of our issues with her, so he hardly sees her either, but he does more than I do. I was upset, went to the room, and fell asleep. The next day was the day of the tournament. We only had 2 passes, so it was me and the brother-in-law who went in by ourselves first while my husband stayed back. We had a fairly good time. He even said so himself. Because it was my first time there, I had jokingly said to him, "I don't give a FK about Fiancé's name. He can wait to come in a little longer since I've never been here before and he's been about 3 times. He took it highly offensive and disrespectful. If anyone knows about the Masters, being able to go is almost a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I helped his brother-in-law pick out an outfit for my niece from the gift shop, and he didn't say anything about my comment. When we got back to the hotel, my fiancé was asleep and was annoyed that we came out 2 hours after we were supposed to. He had an attitude, and I kind of snapped back at him. My fiancé and his brother-in-law then went into the tournament while I stayed back. Once it was over, his brother-in-law came back without my fiancé. I asked him where he was, and his reply was, "He's old enough, he'll figure it out." There were almost 50,000 people there. His brother-in-law left the chairs behind and didn't remember picking them up, so we don't have those either anymore. The car ride home, his brother-in-law kept trying to offer my fiancé advice on getting his life together, etc. My fiancé runs his family business and works harder than anyone I know. A lot of the things he said were way out of line. Telling him to stop smoking marijuana when my fiancé hardly does. Telling me I should leave him when he has no clue about our relationship whatsoever. More so, he even FaceTimed his daughter, and I was finally able to see my niece for the first time and was referred to as her aunt by my boyfriend's sister. His brother-in-law told us that he had a great time with me. When they got home, I got a call from my fiancé saying he overheard his brother-in-law snitching to his mom that he smokes Zaza. We fought in public, etc. His parents dropped him off at the airport the next morning, and he ended up saying more things to his parents. Today, my fiancé calls me to tell me that his parents think we can't be together anymore because I'm a terrible person. We both think it's out of spite that he told them things because literally 2 hours before I dropped them home, he was praising me. He told his wife that I had helped pick out his daughter's outfits, everything. But because I made that about, I don't give a FCK about, comment, I'm the worst person ever. When his brother-in-law told my fiancé about it, he immediately knew I was joking and told him I didn't mean it because I would never intentionally talk shit about my fiancé to anyone. I don't know what to do. I want to sit down and have a conversation with his parents that has been long overdue. They've never ever once seen any good in me. And it's been a witch hunt between my fiancé's mom and his sister against me to try to get me out of the relationship. My fiancé obviously has my back, but he said he's done all and said all he could. What his brother-in-law did as a 40-year-old man is just something I can't even fathom. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Are you sure your fiancé even likes you, girl? I couldn't read the rest of the post after never being able to see your niece. It's never going to get better with them if things were never good in the first place. It truly blows my mind that you think that this is normal in a relationship. They are telling you loud and clear that they don't think of you as family. I would really reconsider this whole relationship unless you want to spend many more years like this in this family and you reach your breaking point, because that is what it'll be, your breaking point, nothing them changing. Take a minute to really think about if you want this for the rest of your life. Comment 2. If your fiancé has your back, there is nothing else. Just stop. This is what the relationship or lack of relationship is. My parents have been married for over 50 years, and on my grandmother's deathbed, she told my dad she still doesn't approve of him or their relationship. Maybe someday they will change their mind. It took my in-laws 20 years. They joked they honestly thought we would never make it while giving me a family heirloom. At some point, the relationship is what it is, and as long as your fiancé has your back, that's all that matters. Now for the update. Thanks for all the comments on the last update. They really helped me process things. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, they did. My fiancé's brother-in-law, the one who flew in from Hawaii, turned out to be the last person I expected to stab me in the back. After the whole Masters tournament fiasco, I was already on edge, but what happened next was a real kick in the teeth. So my fiancé and I had been trying to mend fences with his family, despite their constant meddling. His sister, the one who's always in their mom's ear, had been a thorn in our side for years, but we were making progress, or so I thought. Then, out of the blue, my fiancé's brother-in-law starts acting all buddy-buddy with me. He even went as far as to compliment me on how I handled myself at the tournament. Despite that little joke I made about my fiancé, it felt like we were finally getting somewhere. Like maybe this family could come together after all. But here's where it gets twisted. The brother-in-law, he goes behind our backs and starts feeding his wife and my future mother-in-law all these lies about me. He twisted my words, made it seem like I didn't care about my fiancé at all. And the worst part, he did it right after we had spent the day together, after I'd helped him pick out a gift for his daughter, my niece, who I finally got to see on a video call. It's like he was waiting for the perfect moment to drop this bomb on us. My fiancé overheard him on the phone, spilling all these exaggerated stories, making me out to be some kind of monster. And just like that, all the progress we had made with his family was blown to smithereens. Now, his parents are on this warpath, convinced that I'm the root of all evil. They're pressuring my fiancé to break things off with me, saying that I'm a bad influence. It's like they're looking for any excuse to push me out. And the brother-in-law handed it to them on a silver platter. I'm at my wit's end here. My fiancé is just as shocked as I am. He knows I was joking. He knows I love him. But his family? They're eating up every word, the brother-in-law said. It's like they want to believe the worst about me. And the cherry on top, the brother-in-law left town like nothing happened. Like he didn't just drop a grenade in the middle of our lives. He's back in Hawaii, probably sipping on a Mai Tai, while we're here picking up the pieces. I've been trying to reach out to his parents, to clear the air, to show them who I really am. But every attempt just falls on deaf ears. They've made up their minds, and it seems like nothing I say or do can change that. My fiancé is standing by me, but he's torn up about it too. His family means a lot to him, and this whole mess is tearing him apart. He's been trying to smooth things over, but there's only so much he can do when they're all convinced I'm the villain. I never thought his brother-in-law, of all people, would be the one to betray us. I mean, he's a grown man, for crying out loud. You'd think he'd have better things to do than stir up drama like some high school gossip. But here we are dealing with the fallout. It's like we're living in some twisted soap opera, except there's no script to follow, no director to cut to the next scene. It's just us, trying to figure out how to move forward when it feels like the whole world is against us. I don't know what's going to happen next, but I do know one thing. I'm not giving up without a fight. I love my fiancé, and I'm not going to let his family's pettiness tear us apart. We're going to get through this, one way or another. Thanks for reading. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.